Hi, I wanted to come on here and have a conversation about the merging process of twin flames and what's taking place in between the mergings as well during the separations. So, if you are on the twin flame journey, your soul is ready to come back into wholeness from a fractured state back into its original template, which is the yin yang system. And this is when you and your twin flame will both incarnate together within the same lifetime. And then the journey of coming back into union with your own soul will begin and unfold very naturally. It's governed by natural cosmic laws. But in order to merge your soul back together from this fractured state, there are certain things that have got to take place and they've got to happen in order to fully merge with your twin. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how this works, okay? So you and your twin flame are one soul, but you're fractured at the moment, okay? So you have your compartment, okay? And they have their compartment of the soul. This is where we've got the yin-yang system. The divine feminine is in the black side of the yin-yang. It's the negative polarity. And the divine masculine is in the white side and the positive polarity of these two compartments. Okay, but you're fractured. You're not actually merged back together. It's like you have to stitch it back together, essentially. And so what will happen is that when you actually meet your twin flame in this lifetime, it's profound because these two aspects of its own soul have literally just come face to face with each other for the first time in thousands of years. And they're standing face to face now for the first time, right? And so, but you're still fractured. And the initial thing that happens is soul recognition. And what's happening in this moment is that you are each recognizing through eye contact and through voice vibration, because these are the portals of the soul, you're recognizing within the other portion or the other self your own vibration. Again, the yin-yang system shows this clearly and simply. So you see it. You see each other's energy within each other. So you recognize your energy within them, they recognize their energy within you, and that's boom, soul recognition. Okay, and this is going to now, once you've done this part of it, it sets everything in motion. You will go through a period of bubble love phase. This is where you're in harmony with your other self. This is what it's going to feel like in a lot of ways when you get into union at the end. So bubble love phase is at the beginning of this journey and at the end of the journey. But at the beginning, in that first initial phase, it's the preview. It's showing you what this is. Okay, it's showing you, look, this is your complementary other aspect of your soul, and you will have complete harmony with them. You'll just be, we all know what it's like. We all know that it's very magical. We all know that it's out of this world. And so, it's a very beautiful part of the phase, obviously. And this is what gives us hope to keep going through all of the pain and all of the trials and tribulations that we're going to have to go on through this journey now. Generally, what will happen after the bubble love phase is that you will begin to have the separations, because this is also a part of the journey. So when we're actually coming back into union with our soul and we're merging our soul or stitching our soul back together, we don't do this all at once. We do this in little doses at a time, because it would be catastrophic if we tried to do it all at once. It's not even possible, because there's actually too much that has to take place before you can fully get it back together. So after each merging, there will also be a separation. So every time you merge a little bit more, there's going to be another separation. And the deeper the merge, the deeper the separation. And this is where people will say separation is preparation. And it's true, because what's going to happen Because what's happening in separation is that it's time for number one to be integrating that merge a little bit. It is also time to go on and start being triggered so that all of the things, the insecurities and all of the limiting beliefs, all of those old traumas start getting dealt with little by little. And it may take a while if you are not really recognizing that this is what's taking place. So you have to eventually deal with it, but it's giving you at least the opportunity in the separation to deal with your stuff. Because that's what you have to do. You cannot merge back together into wholeness with your own soul with limiting beliefs in there. Because what you're doing when you finally fully merge is you're actually stepping into your divinity, your God self. And you can't do that if you have old trauma, you have limiting beliefs, and many other things. Another thing that has got to happen is that we have got to also fulfill karma. So when we come into this lifetime, we still have residual karma that we have got to fulfill. We have karmic contracts. We must fulfill them. And those separations are a time to also fulfill your karma, both you and your twin. So, oftentimes you'll see the twin off with somebody else in a relationship with someone else. And, the divine feminine will get hurt by this, and it will trigger the divine feminine when this happens. This can also go the other way around, of course. The divine feminine will also have relationships with other people as well. And the reason being for this is that you still have karmic contracts. You have got to fulfill them. It's a contract. That's the whole point, is that you've got to. So again, a lot of this stuff is really being looked at from the 3D level, like, oh, they're over there in a relationship with somebody else, and it's very upsetting. They might have children with somebody else. Those children are also karmic contracts. We have karmic contracts for our children, for romantic relationships, for platonic relationships, for our parents, our siblings. We have karmic contracts for our soul missions here on this earth at this time as light workers. Those are karmic contracts, and we've got to fulfill them. So these things will happen. But it doesn't mean that we're off the journey, right? So we might have those moments, and we most definitely will. We'll have these moments of separation where we're healing, we're letting go of old limiting beliefs, and we're also fulfilling our karmic debts. We've got to fulfill them. And then we will come back together for another merging with the twin. So it's a merge, separation, deal with your karma, deal with your trauma, releasing. We've got to get rid of all of the stuff that's in the soul, your part of the soul, and they've got to get rid of the stuff that's in their part of the soul. And so off you go. It's like, okay, we come together and then boom, we've got to go deal with our stuff. And so this is really important to understand because oftentimes people are just getting triggered by what they're seeing in the 3D without really seeing the big picture of what's taking place. It is more than a romantic connection. It is about merging and stitching your soul back together, and it cannot do this until the soul has been purified, until it's all out of there. And so we can be doing this. Merge, separate, go work on karma, go work on trauma. You can be going along for a long time until you actually get to the part of the journey when you have your Kundalini alchemical process be activated and that begin. And this is a very significant part of the journey here. So this is when it actually all really gets intense, okay, once this happens, because this is where we're having really proper merges. I have spoken quite a lot about the alchemical marriage and these mergings that happen. And I just want to take you through this process of the alchemical merging that happens, okay? Because there are 3 major merges during this alchemical process. Once your Kundalini activates, you each twin, masculine and feminine, have got to go through that Kundalini awakening, right? So the divine feminine will go first. So the divine feminine has their base chakra. Normally it starts at the base chakra, and it will activate, it will start cleansing out and purifying, opening, activating all of your chakras. You will get all the way to the crown chakra. The feminine gets to the crown chakra, and this is where, obviously once you get to the crown chakra, the divine feminine is really strongly in their own divine feminine. They have balanced both masculine, feminine polarities within themselves, and, cleaned out all of the chakras basically, and stepped into their own divinity and become somewhat of a pillar of feminine energy. It's like, boom, you're this pillar of divine feminine energy. And this is where, once the feminine gets to the top, now the divine masculine will drop down into that lower chakra, into the base chakra at the bottom, which is their own energy, like I always speak about. They start to go on the process. But when this happens, the first action they take, because remember, they are the grounded twin, they are the physical twin, and they are the ones leading physically. So they take their first action of being the one to start pulling this connection into the physical world. And what I mean by that is they start wanting to make the connection something real here. They want it to be something real. They've been running away, right? They've been doing their own thing, but now all of a sudden they're present with you. The first thing they do is they come directly for divine feminine. Because they are in that lower chakra, which is sexual energy, right? That is the sexual energy area. They will come in with heavy sexual energy. They'll be coming for you. They'll be like, they want to basically engage with some sort of sexual energy with you. And this is the first significant merging that you will have on this journey. It's not the biggest one. It's the lightest merge. It's the first one. So it's not a big merge. It's more in the sexual energy, but it's a merge. And then what happens is, the feminine, she just stays in her feminine energy, right? She stays in that pillar of feminine energy, and the divine masculine keeps going on his journey of raising the energy up through the chakras. And then you have a meeting in the heart chakra. This is the next major merge, and this one is a big one. This one is the alchemical marriage, and I have done a video on that, and I can link that down in the description box if you want to have a little bit more of a look into that in more detail. And this is where the energy shifts. Obviously, this is the heart chakra, so the energy that they come in with this time is much more of a loving nature. There's no sexual tones to it. It's a loving nature, and in a sense, I say that they claim you, of letting you know that they're on the journey. They recognize you as their twin, and that, there's this immense love. And this is where it's very powerful. You have a massive merge in the heart chakra, because this is where the twins are always meeting. So this is a very important place. And you basically, the way it felt for me anyway, was a slamming into each other. It was very quick, and boom, it just happens really quick, where it's like you slam into each other and you're fully merged, is what it feels like. This, again, you can check out that other video if you want to go into more detail about that. From this point, okay, remember what I said, the bigger the merge, the bigger the separation. So this is where it gets tricky, because after this major merging that you have in the heart chakra, well, unfortunately, you're going to get a big separation. You're going to get a deep separation. So you're going to feel really disconnected from your twin after this. And this is a difficult part of it in a lot of ways, because after such a major merge, it's very unsettling to go into such a deep separation from them after this. But what is happening now from this point, okay, once you have that heart chakra merge, is that now is a time for the final cleansing, the final purification, and this is where you actually start transcending your karma, okay? So there's a difference between fulfilling karma and transcending karma. Now, I also did a video on what it means to transcend karma, and I can leave that linked in the description box below as well if you want to look at that in more detail. But basically, you're going to fulfill your karma, but you can either do that kicking and screaming and just having a bad attitude, basically, of saying, oh, poor me, why is this happening to me? You know, look at this person is doing to me. It's all about this victim mentality and, you know, not really taking your responsibility or taking any sense of trying to correct the situation in a healthy way. Whereas transcending karma is actually recognizing that this is your karma, okay? Because we all have karma. We've got to. There's good karma too. And this is actually where it gets good, is when you start transcending it. Once you start transcending karma, then you start stepping into the good karma, which is awesome, right? This is not a bad thing. So what happens, like I said, once you start transcending karma is when you start having, you're looking at things from more of a soul's perspective. You're not in that 3D mindset of, look, poor me, why is this happening to me? Into soul perspective of, okay, wow, okay, this has come into my life. I see it, that it's my karma. And now I'm going to do what is necessary to fulfill this karma with love. That's a major shift in your energy, which is really the act of transcending karma. Because when you start being of service to your karma with love, this is when you level up. This is when you go to the next level. And this is where you will really start fulfilling your soul's mission, which, like I said, is a soul contract. Light workers that come here to assist in this time are literally under contract to do so. So we have soul missions. And so once you get to that point of transcending the karma, this is where it gets juicy, where you start fulfilling your karmic contracts for your soul mission. And this is where the dynamic of this connection really starts to change. Because before, we were really focused and fixated on the relationship aspect of this connection. But once you start transcending karma and you start fulfilling your soul mission, which is also a part of this journey, it shifts from being about relationship to being about soul mission and being of service to others at this time, because that's what we are truly here to do. We are truly here to be of service to others. This is our karmic contract. This is our soul's mission. And this is what we're here to do, truly. It's not that the twin flame was never about the relationship. It truly is about both of these things. But there's going to come a time where the focus is now shifted off of relationship, off of other self, onto soul mission and onto service of others. And then after a period of time, whenever that contract is finished, when you have fulfilled that mission, if you will, and you may have several missions at that, it will eventually go back into relationship and merging heavily with your soul again. And now the third and final merge is up in the crown chakra. This is where you're meeting up there. This is the full-on Heros Gamos, okay? This is where you come together, and this is a sexual merge again. Just like we had at the bottom, it was a sexual merge, but this was more of a lustful, earthy type of sexual energy. Whereas up in the crown chakra, it is a potent sexual energy, because this is where Shakti and Shiva meet up in the crown chakra. They are in their divine selves now because they have both moved through all of the chakras. They've gone through the full purification. They have fulfilled their karma. They have transcended karma. They have released all of the limiting beliefs, and now they're standing face to face again. And they have this intense spiritual sexual merging, the final merge. But the length of time fully depends on the pair of twins. How much karma have they got to fulfill? How quickly are they going to learn the lesson of transcending karma? How much trauma have they got? We don't all have the same amount of trauma. We don't all have the same amount of limiting beliefs. We don't all have the same stuff contained within our soul's container that we have to let go of. Some people have more and some people have less. And so it's going to take a different amount of time for each pair of twins to actually go through this alchemical process. But essentially, because we're in this quickening, right, the energies of the cosmos are supporting twins to move this thing along quicker. So what's important to understand here is that after a deep merging, there's going to be a deep separation. And that there are these three major mergings, and that we need to also, in those separations, to be fulfilling karma, transcending karma, healing trauma, cleansing our energy centers, letting go of old limiting beliefs, and standing as a pillar of either divine feminine or divine masculine energy. It's really truly all about you. We really have to take the focus off of the other self and really start to get deeply into what is necessary for you to do. And to also understand that this is not just a romantic connection, and it's not just a soul mission and about your own awakening. Okay, it's both. It is both, but there's a time needed to take the focus off relationship and put your focus more on your own ascension and your own soul's mission, and to be of service to others. And when it is divine timing, and then we return back to the bubble love phase where you're both in your divinity, and this is the permanent union. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and finish off here for today. I am sending you so much love. Thank you very much for listening, and I will talk to you later. Bye.